Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take some of life's most challenging moments and, well, move them out of that emotional fog.
To give you a real framework, some knowledge that's custom-tailored for what you're going through.
And today's topic is, frankly, it's a gut-wrenching one, but it's one that absolutely requires a clear head. We're talking about the decision of whether or not to forgive a partner after a significant deception.
And we really have to put aside the moral judgments here, the simple feelings.
Right. Our mission for this deep dive, and this is based entirely on the research you shared with us, is to build a concrete, non-emotional structure.
A way to assess things.
Exactly, to assess two key things. First, the reality of repairing the relationship, and second, and maybe most importantly, the safety of that path for you.
And that shift from emotion to structure is so critical because the sources you sent make it clear there is no standard answer. There's no universal should.
So forgiving is reasonable.
And choosing to walk away is just as reasonable. The real question, the one we need to help you answer, is whether forgiveness, in your specific case, is, safe.
Is it real?
Is it real, and will it cause more harm to you in the long run? It's about the mechanics of the structure, not just the history of the love.
Okay, let's just dive right in then, because before we can even talk about repair, we have to define the damage.
You have to know what you're dealing with.
And the source material is very insistent on this. Deception isn't a monolith. Not all lies are created equal.
Absolutely. That's the first mistake people make, just lumping all betrayals together. We need to be precise.
Why is that so important?
Because the nature of the lie is the single biggest predictor of whether repair is even possible. It tells you if you're dealing with a crack in the foundation or just, a minor cosmetic flaw.
So let's run through the three types the sources lay out, starting with the one that's comparatively the least severe. Type 1.
Protective concealment or marginal deception.
What does it mean?
This is where a partner hides details that aren't, core to the relationship. The intent is usually rooted in fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of causing you worry, or maybe fear of judgment, like hiding an old financial issue that's already resolved. The key thing here, the structural element, is that there's no substantive boundary crossing.
Meaning no cheating.
No cheating, no double life, no malicious intent to get something for themselves.
Can you give us a quick practical example?
Sure. Imagine a partner who, say, secretly racked up a small credit card debt 5 years ago. They were scared to tell you,
Okay.
but they've since paid it all off on their own. When it comes out, the issue isn't a current debt, it's the fact they hid it.
So is repair possible there?
The sources say sometimes, but only if the motives are really clear, that they were just trying to protect you from worry, and they lay out a clear path to total honesty from now on.
Okay. But then we step up to type 2, and this is relationship destructive deception. This is the high alert category.
Yeah, this is where things get serious.
What's the fundamental shift here?
With type 2, you're looking at structural rot in the relationship. This isn't about fear of causing worry anymore. This is about prioritizing their own self-interest over your shared reality.
And this would include the big betrayals.
Exactly. Physical infidelity, a long-term emotional affair, or maintaining some kind of double life.
And the source material points to one specific behavior here that's a massive red flag, even if the lie wasn't long-term.
Right. Manipulative denial.
Let's really dig into that. Why is that specific action so incredibly destructive?
Manipulative denial is that moment you voice a suspicion, you say, I think something is wrong here.
And they just shut it down.
They aggressively deny it, and they often try to make you feel like you're being crazy or you're too sensitive. They only come clean when you present them with undeniable physical evidence.
And why is that so structurally dangerous? What does that prove?
It proves a pattern of control. It shows that their first concern isn't the relationship's integrity. It's maintaining their own comfort and control over the story.
It tells you they can't be trusted to be truthful.
Even when they can see the emotional suffering they're causing you. That requires a massive reconstruction, not just patching a small hole.
Which leads us to the most dangerous category, type 3.
Repetitive deception plus rationalization.
This sounds insidious.
It is. The identifying feature is a really toxic cycle. First, you discover the lie, and they deny it. Then, they quickly pivot to rationalization.
What does that sound like?
Oh, it's the classic, I was just so afraid of losing you, that's why I lied, or I was under so much pressure at work.
And then come the promises.
Passionate commitments to change. Maybe they even agree to therapy. But then they consistently, predictably fail to change the core behavior. The lying continues.
Let's stay here for a second because the sources call this the most dangerous type for the person being lied to. How does that rationalization become even more damaging than the lie itself?
Because the rationalization is what keeps the cycle going. It sounds like they're taking accountability, but it's actually a shield.
A shield.
Yeah, it's designed to get your pity, to get immediate forgiveness by focusing on their pain instead of the injury they caused you.
And the real cruelty of it all is that the cycle forces you, the listener, to start blaming yourself.
Exactly. You start thinking, why didn't my anger stop him? Maybe I'm demanding too much. Or worse, am I just unlovable?
You end up doubting your own reality just to make sense of their broken promises.
You do. And that is why the research is absolutely decisive on type 3. The conclusion is a strong, do not recommend forgiveness.
And that's not about judging them.
It has nothing to do with judging their future or their morality. It's a matter of self-preservation for you. That cycle will inevitably exhaust you, deplete you, and damage your own well-being. It doesn't matter how much they want to change, you just don't have infinite resources to survive that.
Wow. That completely shifts the conversation. It's not about assessing their capacity to change.
It's about assessing your capacity to endure predictable, cyclical pain.
That's the perfect transition. So if you're dealing with a type 1 or even a type 2 deception, and you're considering repair, you have to move past feelings of love or fear.
And anchor your decision in 4 non-emotional conditions.
The safety checklist.
This list is the core of it all. It grounds the decision in reality, not in the fantasy of what you wish things were.
Okay, let's go through them. Check 1.
Active assumption of responsibility. And this means they have to do more than just apologize. They have to own the action without any exceptions. No buts.
So give us an example of what a failed attempt at this sounds like.
A failure is any attempt to shift blame. It's, I know I hurt you, but if you hadn't been so distant. Or using their past as an excuse, I cheated because of my trauma, so you have to understand.
So even if the trauma is real.
It's real, but it can't be a get-out-of-jail-free card for the hurt they're causing right now.
So it's not enough to say, I'm sorry I lied. They have to be able to say what they did wrong and show they understand how it injured you.
Precisely. Do they get that they didn't just lie, they shattered your sense of security?
Yeah.
And here's a really critical nuance from the sources. If they ever dismiss it by saying, that's in the past, let's just move on, or why do you keep bringing this up?
What does that mean?
It's clear proof they have not taken responsibility. They are putting their own comfort right now ahead of your need for them to understand the weight of their actions.
That makes total sense.
Okay.
Check 2. The deception is completely stopped. This one seems obvious.
It seems obvious, but the key word is completely.
What does that mean in structural terms?
It means more than just not getting caught again. It's not just stopping contact with the other person. It means cutting off the entire structure that let the deception happen.
Okay, an example.
If the deception involved a coworker and late-night drinks, the structure might demand a new job, or at least a radical change in their social routines. If it was a secret bank account, that account has to be closed, and you get total financial transparency immediately.
So if they aren't willing to make those big, inconvenient changes to remove the opportunity for it to happen again, they fail. Check 2.
Correct. No matter how many times they say sorry, if the habitat for the dishonesty is still there, the chances of it happening again are incredibly high.
Check 3 feels like it's all about the healing process for the victim. The listener is allowed to feel unhappiness, doubt, and anger.
Yes. This is where the partner proves they are committed to your healing, not just getting the relationship back to a peaceful state for themselves.
So a relationship that's actually reparable?
Is one where the injured person gets to set the pace of recovery. You're allowed to ask the same question 5 times. You're allowed to have moments of doubt and anger that seem to come from nowhere.
And the partner's job is to just absorb that.
Without complaint, without getting defensive.
So if you hear things like, why are you still punishing me? Or, I thought you forgave me last week. What's that a sign of?
It shows they're more worried about their own discomfort than your long-term security. They're trying to rush you. Real recovery is messy. It's not linear. If they try to speed it up, they're failing. Check 3.
And finally, check 4. This one is the ultimate barometer, isn't it? The listener's state is improving, not worsening. This is all about you.
This is your personal warning system. If you decide to stay, and you find yourself becoming more anxious, constantly on edge.
Or worse, you start blaming yourself for what happened.
Yes. If you start thinking, I should have been a better partner, or you find yourself trying harder and harder to prove you're worthy of being loved so they won't stray again,
Hmm.
that's the danger zone.
Let's talk about that idea of self-sacrifice the sources bring up. What does that actually look like?
It looks like overperforming. You become hypervigilant. You start managing all the emotional labor in the relationship, trying to anticipate their every need.
You're trying to fill the gap that you think caused the problem in the first place.
And it's self-immolation. It's not sustainable. If your internal state is getting worse, if you feel exhausted or anxious all the time, the relationship structure is toxic, even if they've stopped the act of lying.
So check 4 is the bottom line.
It's the ultimate line in the sand. If staying requires you to shrink yourself, it is not repair. It is self-sacrifice.
That's a really powerful point.
Mm.
Okay, so we've moved past emotions and laid out clear behavioral standards for the partner and an internal safety standard for the listener.
Which brings us to a final, incredibly important point that the sources make. It's this distinction between forgiveness and relationship status.
This is where we get trapped, right? We think, I have it in me to forgive this person, so I am obligated to stay.
It is the ultimate boundary trap, especially for empathetic people, which the listener profile suggests is you. But the sources are crystal clear. Forgiving the person is not the same as deciding to stay in an intimate relationship with them.
Explain that. That's a profound difference. How can you genuinely forgive someone but still leave?
Well, forgiveness is an internal act. It's unilateral. It's about you releasing the negative hold that this event, that this person has over your emotional future. It's an act of
They're
self-liberation.
deciding to stay.
That's a structural decision.
Yeah.
And some hurts, especially the ones that fail these 4 checks we just went through, they render the fundamental structure of the relationship permanently unsuitable.
So you can get to a place where you understand them. You can
Right.
understand their flaws, their motives, why they did it,
Absolutely. You can understand all of that.
but still realize that their structural weakness is just incompatible with your need for safety.
Exactly. Understanding the why is a sign of your own personal strength. But choosing to leave after you understand, that's a sign of healthy boundaries. You aren't obligated to accept a damaged structure just because you're capable of empathy.
Ability does not equal obligation.
That's the perfect way to put it. You can wish them well, forgive their human weakness, and still know that living with them in that structure will harm you.
That totally reframes the act of leaving. It's not about failing to be a loving person.
It's not a failure of heart. It's a choice about structural fitness. It empowers you to make a clear decision based on evidence, not get trapped by the history of your commitment.
So we've covered the types of deception, we've gone through the 4-point reality checklist, and we've clarified that critical distinction between forgiveness and obligation. You now have a complete framework.
And we really encourage you to just sit with this for a while. Step away from the immediate pain and ask yourself the 3 powerful self-reflection questions that were in your source material.
Let them guide you forward.
The first question, if this exact same thing happens again, can I handle it? And you have to be brutally honest about your current psychological resources.
Question 2. Am I choosing to stay out of genuine love for the partnership as it is now? Or is this choice really rooted in stubbornness? Not wanting to admit defeat or dependency or just fear of being alone.
And the final question, it's the great mirror. If this exact situation were happening to my best friend, knowing everything I know about them, would I advise them to stay?
Use these questions, use this framework to make the choice that ensures your long-term safety and well-being. That's the true mission of this deep dive, moving you from that paralyzing turmoil to empowered, evidence-based decision-making. We'll see you next time.